Oh, hi there, my name's Beth and this is the story of how I renovated my 1904 Dutch sailing barge. This week, Portholes. Well, I've just arrived at the yard and I've got a light. Let me show you. They're absolutely fantastic. I'm so pleased. So you might notice they're actually coming in quite far, which I hadn't really anticipated so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring the wall a little bit further out, bring the interior cladding out. So it means that I'm just going to put some bigger battens on the inside and then put some extra insulation in there, so that's okay. So that'll look really nice, yeah, and crikey, it looks so good. It looks so good. And one lovely change up here is that there is a huge space for the hatch now. So the what they've done, because the top of the roof is slightly curved, the entire roof is actually quite curved, but just in this section it's actually quite flat, but a little bit curved. So they've put this extra piece of metal on, which is a flat, completely flat surface, and then they've welded it in here. So if you can see, I'm not sure if you can see too well, but it's actually slightly above this original hull, and then here it's slightly below. So that just takes in that camber that goes this way, and it means that the ocean hatch will seal really well. But what an incredible view. I can just imagine in the summer lying in bed here, just looking up at the sky, and hopefully a goose won't land on me. But yeah, it's absolutely incredible. It's so beautiful, such beautiful space. And yeah, so this is another one of the portholes. This is the wall here for the bedroom. So this will be actually in the bedroom, and you'll notice there isn't one further up here. We did think about that, putting a smaller one in, but I think it doesn't really need it, and it gives a nice space here, because it would kind of be above the bed anyway, which is a little bit direct. So this one, at least it kind of gives you a little bit of privacy if you want to leave this open. So yeah. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Honestly can't believe it. It's been nearly a year of waiting. They arrived just before Christmas, but of course Christmas we couldn't get in. There was an option of the new year, but we decided to put it off to the spring, and now it's spring and now they're being done. So I can't believe it. I can't believe it that we're actually making this progress. I can't believe it. It feels like the biggest change. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm a bit lost for words. Well, I've just rambled on for a few minutes, so I can't be that lost. But yeah. Also, actually, I think I might be able to get out of these as well. I don't know whether my hips would get through, but I'll give it a try one day. At least Bertie can come in and get in and out on that anyway. So yes, oh my goodness, it's amazing. These are beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. She really looks like a ship again, doesn't she? Rather than just a shipping container, she looks like a ship. And these, yeah, these portholes are incredible, aren't they? They've got a really good seal here, and they are double glazed. And actually, the double glazing is really thick as well, so it's kind of that thick. So a good 2.5 centimeters or inch in old money. Yeah, amazing. So one thing I did speak to the yard about when they were putting them in is which orientation they will go in at. Those of you with a keen eye will realise that these are not in the correct orientation for a ship. For a ship, the hinge should be at the top and the portholes are lifted up because they kind of naturally close again. But I didn't want that because I actually wanted them to stand open, and having them up like that actually might be dangerous for guests. If I would put a clip or something at the top, and if they unclipped it and it slammed shut, they're quite heavy. So you put them here and had all the hinges oriented to the forward. So I think that works well. That's nice. It's kind of that's what it was before as well. So but yeah, these are incredible. They're worth the wait. It's hard to do it with one hand, but they are worth the wait. Last year, when we were talking about these portholes, they were going to be a few months. They were going to be 3 months, and obviously this was during lockdown, so we didn't really understand what the full effects of the pandemic were going to be. But so these were going to be a few months, and I kind of hummed and hawed for a little bit, and I asked Jake at the yard and said, well, what would you recommend? Should I wait, or should I just put the old ones back in? And he said, if it was him, it's worth the wait. Now this has been nearly a year to wait, but they are worth the wait. They're just totally different. It's a totally different space. They're fantastic. So yeah, I'm pleased. But we came here to look at the engine. So I'm going to give the marine engineer a call. I'm going to video call him, and we're going to walk around the engine and see what he recommends. And then, yeah, we can see if we can get that started and running well for the return trip downriver. So yeah, let's do that. So I'm under the boat again. I didn't think I'd be under the boat again so soon, but never mind. So this is the grate on the inside just to protect the heat exchanger. Now, last time I saw it, I just thought this was the pipe stack, but actually it's a grate to protect the pipe stacks. And they're here. I don't know if you can see all the way through there. There is a bundle of pipes. So that marries up with the other side with the inlet and outlet. So the water is pumped through here and then back out again. There is another hose pipe, a pipe that goes out the side and then out the side of the boat, and I think that's just to prevent an airlock. So if there wasn't a way for the water to vent through, or the air to vent out, it would actually create a little vacuum, like a little dumbbell, not a dumbbell. What am I thinking of? Diving bell. Crikey. Okay, so like a diving bell, it would just kind of create a little vacuum. It's not a vacuum, a little, you know what I mean. So yeah, but that'll push the water out, push the air out, and get a good flow of water over. So that's that. It looks okay from the inside. I'm just going to go and check to see if all of the coolant is still in, and if it's dribbled down a bit, I'm going to go and refill it again and see if any is dribbling out. Worth a try. And this is the little outlet. So I'm actually going to see if I can blow through it. I'm going to try and make a seal with my hand and blow through it and see if it's actually blocked. Because if that's blocked with mud, then if we've got an airlock around there, that might be it. So let's have a look at that first. I think it's okay. What I might try is I might get a bit of water and pour that down and see if it comes out the other end. Okay, so the first test, I'm going to make sure that there's no blockage in here, so I'm going to pour some water in this side. So the only thing I've got is an old oat milk container with some river water in. So I'm going to try and pour it in that. I might just need to sort of gush it in there. So if it's not blocked, it should just drop out the bottom, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Right, well, the water is running straight through, so there's no blockage. It doesn't even have to carry a lot of water, it just has to equalize the pressure of the air when the boat goes in and doesn't create a little diving bell kind of effect. So yeah, I think it's okay. So I don't know if I've shown you this before, I might have done, but this is the winch that I got from the Netherlands, and it was a little bit of a hassle to get it into the country with the new regulations and all that, but yeah, so it's here. It's been here for a little while, but this is it's an older winch, but it's been completely reconditioned, so it's good to go for years, assuming I look after it, which I'm going to. It's going to be used for raising and lowering the mast over a pair of legs. But also it's going to handle the anchor as well. So the anchor chain will come out from actually probably the right hand hole there in the front of the gunnel, and that hole is actually called a hawse pipe, or I think it's called a cat's hole as well, but yeah, a hawse pipe, not a hose pipe, a hawse pipe, not a hawse pipe, a hawse pipe. It's spelled like that. So anyway, the chain comes through there. It comes over the winch gypsy, which is a way of winching chain without wrapping it around. It just kind of goes down into the chain locker. So yeah, it goes over the gypsy, or the windlass it's also called, and then yeah, you can raise and lower the anchor that way. So so that's pretty good. And yeah, the legs will be fitted on the front. Probably just behind or just in front of the tabernacle there in black. So they will, the legs will be going up in a V. Then there will be some kind of cable to the legs, and then the forestay will attach to the legs, and then we'll lift all of that up, winch it all up. So these are the deck fittings which are used to hold or bolt the winch down to. So you'll notice on the winch over there it actually has a sloping front, which is why they've pushed these slightly under the gunnels, and it saves a bit more deck space. So the winch will be up here, and it'll be a reasonably big size thing, but it means you can still walk across the foredeck, which of course is important. Originally the chain came down here into the chain locker, but the chain now comes down onto here because the winch is on the other side. Or the gypsy is on the other side. So yeah, it's looking great. I'm really pleased. So that was a bit interesting, actually. I filled the coolant now up to the top of the reservoir, the kind of header tank reservoir. And so previously I'd filled it up full of 5 litres, 4.5 litres of this premix coolant, and it was at the top. It did bubble over a little bit when it was overheating, and that's probably because the coolant was sitting in the system somehow and not being circulated, maybe. So it was getting hot, and this is obviously it just kind of blows the top, a bit like when a radiator explodes in a car, you know, in an old movie. I don't know if they do them anymore, but they do that anymore. But there you go. So yeah, I filled it up with the coolant, and I don't think that much came out, but a little bit. So I've just now filled it up with another kind of 2.5 litres, and it's taken all of that. So either there is a leak in the coolant system. Now that wouldn't necessarily mean that the engine would overheat. If there was a leak, it would just lose coolant, as long as there's enough to pump around. However, the second culprit could be that there was an airlock in the coolant. So if last time the coolant was bubbled out or shot out somehow, there would when I filled it up, it could have actually, you know, not been able to flush through, and there could have been an air lock in there, so the pump's nothing to pump against, so the coolant just sits there. So I filled it up now. So there are some bleed valves in the system which we couldn't work out. Well, we couldn't kind of work out on the river, but actually they've just got kind of square top nuts on the top of them. So I think yeah, a pair of pliers should be okay, or I've got actually some small spanners as well, so we'll try that. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to go around with those and try and bleed the system to see if when I open them, if coolant comes out or if air comes out. Now there's 2 on the heat exchanger which I've previously shown you, but there's also another one on the top of the pipe which I think is the return from the engine. So the coolant circulates around the engine and then it comes out of this pipe, and I think that is there's another bleed valve on that. So because it's a pressure reservoir system, if I turn the bleed valves and there are any airlocks in the system, the weight of the coolant should push the air out. So yeah, I'm going to give that a try, and then hopefully I'll get in contact with the marine engineer later on, and we can have a bit more of a chat. But you've got a few jobs to do before then. But there is one thing I found out, that the engine, I wasn't sure what the engine was, what the model was, but just behind a panel I've just seen that it's a DAF 575. So now I know what the engine is. I suspected it was, and that was the manual that I downloaded, and it works. But yeah, so that's good to know. Six millimeters is the smallest I've got, so I'm gonna have to use some pliers, I think. So those two are definitely yeah, there's no air coming from that. There is air coming from that though. and I can hear some gurgling. Well, it's another 2.5 litres gone into that, and it is guzzled it up, and I think I could probably put another litre in, so that could have been it. It could have been an airlock all along. So I've bled that top valve, and ideally I'd like to run the engine now, but I don't have any batteries to start it, so I'll put that off. So I'm quite confident that that's the cause of the overheating. I'm going to have a chat to the marine engineer later on and see what he thinks. I've taken a load of photographs and stuff anyway. But I need to buy some more coolant and 2 new batteries, so I'll try and get those done. So the kind of rough plan is, all being well, we'll be leaving on Thursday, and it is Monday now. So there's a couple more days of work, hopefully getting the mast stepped, although it will be folding down, and as you saw earlier on, the winch is ready to go on. That's all fitted, so that's all great. So in a good position, and yeah, hopefully all will go well on Thursday. I'm hoping that the boat will be in the water before I want to leave. So there's a little bit of a kind of wrinkle about getting back to my berth, in that I need to get back to my berth at high tide, but I also need to float off the dry dock here on the high tide. So if I wait for high tide to float off, by the time I get down the river, it's not high tide anymore. It's actually the tide is dropping again, so it's ebbing again. So that means that I have to go somewhere else around the corner and park up overnight, and then I need to come back to my berth the next day. There's 2 stages to that. One, it's a bit more of a faff, and another one, it cost me an extra 50 quid to stay on a guest berth for the night, so I'd rather not do that if possible. However, what I think might happen is that the boat might be floated and then moved around the side so the crane can lift the mast in place. So if that happens, that'll be absolutely fantastic, because the boat will be in the water beforehand. So yeah, that's all I'm going to do today. I'm going to speak to the marine engineer later on, but yeah, the owner of the yard and his partner have just I've just heard that they've had their baby boy. So it's fantastic news. I'm so pleased with them for them. So yeah, I hope they're all doing really well. So I gather they're in the hospital right now. So I'll see them as soon as I can. But yeah, I wish them all the very best. So it's exciting. And yeah, in 18 years' time, then they'll have another worker for the yard. So that's great. Okay, well that's probably all I can do for today. It's been fantastic to catch up and see how things are going, but I'm going to go now and speak to the harbour master about plans for Thursday. So as ever, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.